Alright, I'm back. As promised, this is part one of my new series, In Depth Analysis. This featured project today is yours truly, Candyman. Now I'm gonna look at my notes real quick to get some of the starring characters and some of the plot out the way, and then I'm just gonna go. I'm not gonna go into the franchise, I'm just going into the character in the first movie. Other series characters and things might be about the entire franchise or entire series, but this one I'm just digging into Candyman in the first movie. This screenplay was written and directed by Bernard Rose. The book was by Clive Barker, The Forbidden. I mean, it's some liberties that all movie book adaptations take that change them, but the book pretty damn good also. But starting with the starting characters, we got Virginia Madsen as Helen Lyle. We got Tony Todd as Daniel Robitaille, aka Candyman. We got Xavier Barkley as Trevor Lau. A lot of people may know him as Gregory from Walking Dead. He know how to play an asshole in everything he in. And we got Casey Lemons as Bernadette. And then we got another supporting character, Dwayne Guy. He's the little kid Jake in the movie. And this was released October 16th of 92. So that put me at exactly the age of 8. I was 8 for a month. And I'm going to get a synopsis of this real quick. Candyman was the son of a slave who was just free after the Civil War. Now his father, they never mentioned his father's name, but Mr. Robitaille, I'm assuming, he amassed a fortune in a shoe designing product. So Candyman, Daniel Robitaille, grew up fairly, you know what I'm saying, in a well put off neighborhood and, you know what I'm saying, nice schools and everything for the time and the era especially, because his father was actually wealthy. You know what I'm saying? So he grew up pretty good. And during his upbringing, Daniel Robitaille had a nice talent for portrait painting of like people in portraits. A wealthy man want to pay to have his family take a picture. Instead of a picture, it was portraits back in this era. So he was very talented at that. So one day he came across a man who wanted his daughter's virginal beauty captured before marriage. So he hired Candyman, Daniel Robitaille. I'm not going to call him Candyman until after I get the backstory out. He's Daniel Robitaille up until this point. So she's white, of course, and her name is Caroline Sullivan. So during the couple of weeks of him taking several weeks of painting portraits of her, they fall in love, and he end up getting her pregnant. The father finds this out, and this is back in right at the Civil War. It's still fairly easy to get away with killing black people. That's when the KKK and them started getting involved and stuff like that. But he hired a mob to hunt down Daniel Robitaille. They chase him all the way through New Orleans, somewhat to Chicago somehow, and that's where most of his origin and backstory take place. They beat him down. They tie him to a tree, and then it's a nearby bee honeycomb nest, and they start stealing the honeycomb and smearing it over his body. And during the process, before they do that, they cut off his right arm, which is his painter's arm, in a humiliation fashion. And they start chanting some of the famous quotes like "Sweets to the sweet." That's one of the quotes you see throughout the movies of Candyman lore. And the lore is calling his name 5 times to summon him. And that's what they chant that day. Candyman, Candyman. Because as they smearing the honeycomb on his body, one of the speck of honey snatch on the kid's cheek. And he lick it like Candyman. And they all start joking like that. So sooner or later, the swarm of bees come for all the honey, and they sting Candyman to death. And he also got his hand axed off with a rusty blade, so he bleeding from that. And then after the bees get all the honey and sting him to death, the people who just killed him come up to him like, "You defiled my daughter." Caroline's father, like, "You defiled my daughter." How dare she even have a stand to look at you now? Like just insulting him before his last breath. He look into the mirror that he holding and says Candyman and dies. And his soul somehow was trapped into that mirror. So when Caroline see the tragedy that just happened, she snatches up the mirror from her father and she look at it and see his reflection. And that's basically the backstory of Candyman leading into the movie, where now I'm finna get into Virginia Madsen and Casey Lemon character, which is Helen and Bernadette. They are some college upstart columnists or trying to make like new stories for the columns in college. And Xavier Barkley, who is Trevor Lyle, he's more of an upper class in the college of Chicago, Illinois. I think they had IU, Illinois University, and he already a professor there, and his wife is working there too. So she doing a story on Candyman. And a lot of the origins and story is in Cabrini Green. So her and Bernadette take a trip there to try to find out some backstory. They go there, get some nice pictures, they get some nice evidence, and they leave. As they getting home, they start trying to process some of the pictures and stuff, and they do the Candyman thing in the mirror. At this time, Bernadette pauses on 4. They say it 4 times together, and Helen dive into the mirror and says it the 5th time. So it's like Candyman really finna be a little more on to her, because she said it 5 times and she meant it. So some little minor things happen in the movie here and there, woo woo. Nothing big with Candyman. You hearing stories throughout the movie, people she interviewing telling her, oh, this happened this day, this happened that day. But it ain't factual stuff that she can sink her teeth in. She got some news reports of certain things, but she thinking them could be real killers and not an entity, ghost type of thing. So one day she goes to Cabrini. I think she go by herself, not this time without Bernadette, and she meet a little boy. This is where Dwayne Guy come in. Jake. He's like a little boy who's scared to fucking death of Candyman. He telling a backstory about how a little kid had to use the bathroom in a grocery store, so his mom told him to go across the street to the little bathroom, and Candyman cut the little boy's penis off and is floating in the toilet and kill him. So this could be a lore story. Anyway it go, Candyman live off people fearing him in the lore, whether it's a human or not. So when Helen and the projects investigating, they first think she a cop when she come with Bernadette. This time they don't give a fuck if she a cop or not. The guy in the hood, crime boss, is portraying the Candyman persona. So he beat her ass, swole her up real good to keep his rep alive. Helen go to the cops immediately, like, okay, woo woo. She tell people that what happened. These guys jumped her, beat her up. Now, he was the kingpin of the hood, so he been going down for murder, but it ain't been nobody to testify against him. Helen the first person to testify against him and get him locked up. So she tell Jake, Candyman ain't real. That's just a persona people play to play on fear. But it worked because Candyman need people like him to keep the lore of him alive, to keep the fear of him alive. And that's when Candyman lose his mind. He comes out the parking lot after her eye getting all a little unswollen. She get back to work. She talked to Bernadette like, yeah, we finna get published. I got publicity for going to Cabrini and getting my ass whooped. We own. Candyman like, yeah, now it's time for me to show up. He come out like 45 minutes into the movie. I always say this. It's always moments in movies that get me. When I seen Candyman, first of all, the movie already got me because it's like People Under the Stairs. It's a young black guy in there, sort of protagonist kind of character, but it's in the hood that can really happen. It ain't Crystal Lake. It ain't in your dream. It ain't somewhere where white people at. These are black situations that scared me even more. That's why he's so scary to me. But when he in that parking garage, you still ain't seen him visibly on screen yet. So when he like, Helen, he basically like 6-7 cars away from her. He ain't right on her, but his voice echoes throughout the parking lot. And he's standing there like tall, opposing. He got his hands behind his back, majestic. He don't look vicious at all. Then she like, do I know you? Woo woo woo. He like, yeah, I am the writing on the wall. I'm the whisper in the classroom. You called me. He basically explaining. My congregation is people who believe in me. Whether you believe in me or not, they do. You just sent the guy who claiming to be Candyman to jail. So now some of my mystique is over. Because now they feel like he Candyman. So now I'm finna show you I'm live in the flesh. From the rest of the movie, dude is like, it ain't a big body count type of movie. He killing people in a way to make it look sort of like Helen did it. Like one scene he cut her wrist to make her look suicidal. One scene, I forgot other character, I forgot her name, but she played Keisha in New Jack City. She giving him a little anecdote about how the hood is and how people scared of Candyman. And Ruthie Jean was a case where she lived next door to this particular black lady, single mother. So she talking to Bernie and Helen, telling them the scoop like she believed in it, but nobody believed her. She did a 911 call and all that. Nobody believed her. So now Helen got somebody in the hood she can go kick it with. So she after he mesmerized her in the parking garage, she woke up in the lady's house, the black lady house. I forgot her name. I'm sorry. She woke up in her house with a hatchet in her hand and the rock while her dog dead, because this lady is a single mother, hard-working CNA. She got a son. She's trying to raise him the best she can. She got bars all over her project door. She got a big-ass rock wall to protect her. All that. She needed a pistol, but she didn't have it. Whatever. Helen wake up in the house, dog head cut off. Baby missing. Candyman did all this. But to a normal eye, it looked like Helen did. So the black lady rushed her like, bitch, where my baby? Woo woo. They get into a tussle because Helen, last thing she remember is seeing Candyman, and she woke up to this horrific scene. So through the scuffle, she still kind of got the hatchet in her hand and defending herself technically. We know what happened, but to the human world, it's like you did it. So she accidentally cut her as the cops coming in. Now, Trevor, it's like, damn, he tripping. I ain't really talked about Trevor too much. He basically, like I said earlier, he the professor at the university they work at, but he also kind of a scumbag dating one of the young college students. It ain't in your face, but it's suggested every time you see him. You see the little bimbo chick around. So when Helen get committed, he go full blown with the chick for about a month. So Helen wake up they've been drugging her for a while. Candyman making appearances where the cameras can't see it, but he really there. He driving her mind crazy. They sedating her. She wake up like a month later, like I'm having an interview with the doctor to see if she competent to stand trial for Bernadette murder, for the murder of the baby, like potentially, because it's missing. Her husband uncommitted her because he's trying to move on anyway. So the doctor like, yeah, you've been here for a month. She like, what? Because she's still thinking, she's still in a trance, to be honest. But she like, you know what, man? Ain't nobody gonna believe this story. I'm just gonna show you. I can call him. She started looking to the mirror and start calling Candyman 1, 2, 3, 4. When she get to the 5th, she look at the doctor like, I'm telling you, he finna show up. Candyman, she said. For like 10, 20 seconds, he like, see, Helen, you delusional. There is no Candyman. Then he just start getting gutted. Candyman arrives out of nowhere. Just start, you know what I'm saying, sticking the hook up his body. Time out, let me stop. I never said the parking garage scene, how he was normal, majestic looking, but then he showed her the hook where his hand was cut off and a big ass rusty, you know what I'm saying, Captain Hook type of hook is his weapon of choice. It looked so nasty, it got nails in it, it just looked vicious. It looked like this shit gonna take some time to kill you, like Jason finna machete you up. Freddy, Chucky, they finna kill you pretty fairly fast. With this hook, it's gonna kill you fast, but it's like you feel it more a little bit to me. That's just a little backstory on the hook, how I felt about the hook, his weapon of choice. But yeah, back to what I'm saying. So as she called Candyman, he killed a guy, free her from her chains, and she basically doing some gladiator tightrope on the wall on the outside of the building to get to another building to like change and get out the outfit and get out of the hospital, the psych ward. She accomplished her goal. She get home to see Trevor and the little bimbo we seen earlier. They painting the house pink. He real like thought Helen was gone for life, either in a psych ward or for murder. So he painting the house. Oh, girl, come in like, damn, you move your life without me this fast? And the girl scared, Trevor scared. So she like, fuck it, man, I see what it is. Man, I ain't got nowhere to go. The cops gonna be after me anyway. She just like fully committed to Candyman. This is about an hour and a half into the movie at this point. And so it's basically the third stretch of the movie. Candyman talking to her in her mind as she like she on like the Chicago bridge. I'm not from Chicago, I'm from Milwaukee, but people from there might know what this bridge name is and title. But she kind of hear Candyman in her head, kind of making her like feel like you do need me. And I took it as she contemplating suicide because she got nothing left. Trevor done left her, but her best friend dead. The baby gone. She had a black friend in the ghetto who, that's a friendship she'll never have again. Like, her life is nothing. She don't have a baby with Trevor where she can rely on, like, I still got a baby in this world. Nothing. So Candyman all in her head, like, come to me, be my victim. You will go down in infamy with me. This gonna be a legendary death. So she like, fuck it. What else I got to lose? So she go to Candyman's lair. And he just laying there again, majestic. And she try to kill him. Of course it's not gonna happen. She stab him in the cheek, and that's when you see all the bees start coming out of him. Out of his mouth, out of his ears. He opened his trench coat, and you see his rib cage is all bees. And they say Tony Todd got $1,000 per bee sting. I may be lowballing it, but he got a lot of bee stings, so it's a lot of $1,000 extra on doing it. Because these was real bees hibernated to not be fierce and normal, but they still was stinging here and there. This was one of the most iconic scenes. Nowadays, this would be all CG basically. But this was real bees, real everything. It was great. He grabbed her, started making the bees fly on her. It passes her out because every time she in Candyman presence, he mesmerizes her. And I'm going to get to the reason why in a minute. So Candyman like, listen, I got to deal with you. The baby's still alive. They've been showing little bibbits and snippets of him feed the baby a little honey here and there to let you know he ain't that evil a motherfucker where he gonna kill a baby. The baby really was a pawn for Helen all along. But he like, I'm going to get a baby back. Be my victim. She like, bet, I go. So she go for the deal, but she try to double cross him again, and they in a bonfire. Cause I ain't getting to certain parts. They building a bonfire in Cabrini Green for the day Candyman. They can all catch him and burn him like a witchcraft witch. So as she traveling to the bonfire where Candyman summoned her to meet, she heard the baby crying in the bonfire, and she also got a hook to get through certain areas of the bonfire, certain woods, certain beds. She using the hook as leverage to get past certain parts. Lil Jake see that as, oh, Candyman here. I don't know how this little nigga got the whole hood on his side and believe in him, but the whole hood, I don't care, GDs and Vice Lords, they all out there to burn Candyman alive. So she grabbed the baby, boom, Candyman appeared. He like, nah, bitch, we all finna die. Like, he reneging kinda. Like, he was finna take the baby. I still wanna feel like he wasn't, but maybe he was. So this last final little 10 minutes, they fighting through the bonfire. It's on fire like a motherfucker. And she stabbing him with little metal stakes here and there, trying to get out. A slab of the thing came in on her back. So she crawling out, cradling the baby, and the baby's safe. They put Helen hair out, she bald head, and Candyman don't win this. This is basically the end of the movie. But there's some more things I want to add to it. After she saved the baby and they realized, damn, Candyman did this. Everybody started feeling like Candyman did this. It was no human. It really was Candyman. And the reason why Candyman chose Helen, it shows at the very end, she was like either an ancestor or reincarnation of Caroline, his long lost love that he was murdered in the first place for. He said his only sin was to ever love Caroline and give her a daughter. When you see his backstory, it's kind of like, you don't feel sorry for Freddy because he was a child molester murderer. You don't feel sorry for the Lakewood Strangler because he was a murderer. Jason was kind of sad how they killed that boy, but nobody had a sadder backstory to me than Candyman, who what turned him into Candyman. Like, when he shed a tear in part 2, I felt that because it was like they killed me. He was explaining to his part. I'm getting off into part 2 real quick, but at the end of that movie, he was explaining to his ancestor of that movie. I forgot her name. I have to look it up because I didn't do no research on her. But he explained it to her. Her name was Annie. He was like, I wasn't Candyman. I wasn't built to be a monster. I was a civilized man. This is what they forced me into. And now I want to live forever with this. But back to 1. After Helen died, they have a funeral. It's sad. The dude who Trevor and Bernadette was on a date with earlier in the movie, who told the backstory of Candyman, at the funeral with Trevor and Trevor's bimbo bitch. And it's like nobody there is sad. They like made Helen rest in peace. But you know, in the back of their minds, they like, damn, she went from normal to OC as fuck. I'm glad she kind of gone. I don't know if you're thinking I'm glad she gone, but they like, at least this burden is off all of our chests. That's when the whole hood, I don't know if it's the north, south, east, or west side, but whatever part of Cabrini Green was on the side of town in the 90s, that whole hood show up to her funeral. Everybody, the baby, she got the baby. And they say this baby in the movie is going to be in the future Candyman of the future that's coming out this year, 2021. But Jake dropped the hook into her casket. Helen in the casket looking beautiful, hair done. I mean, back up. Virginia Madsen was a fine motherfucker. I mean, she older now, but she was a beautiful white lady, you know what I'm saying, to be honest. I ain't gonna lie. And then at the end of the movie, Trevor started realizing, man, grass ain't always greener on the other side. I know she a younger, hotter little chick, but Helen know how to cook. Helen was a real wife. I could have had babies with her. This little young bitch, he was tired of the young chick fast. He in the bathroom depressed. He like, Helen doing the Helen chant. She show up, bald head, nice little bald head hairstyle, nice little gothic white little robe, nice little gothic mascara makeup. It's a lot of flash bulbs. She like, what's the matter, Trevor? Scared of something? Get his uppins, hook him to death. And then the chick, this is the way she framed the chick. The chick cutting steak and cut her hand on accident. So when she walk into the room and in the bathroom and Trevor all gutted, that's how the movie go off, as if she the suspect. Telling you. Daniel Robitaille could have been basically a millionaire, first millionaire of his generation, if them racist white people would have let him live. I mean, he didn't want to just like fuck over Caroline. He loved her. They fell in love. It wasn't no hypnos. It wasn't no love potion. It was mutual. The father was still racist and couldn't handle it. They cut the man painting hand off, would have been enough damage. But they killed him and turned him into an even worse entity than they would have been if he was alive and dealing with him as a wealthy mixed interracial relationship. It would have probably been bad for some communities, but what he became was much worse. He haunted the entire family. The part 2 and 3 is Annie's daughter is in part. He hunt Annie, which is his great-great-granddaughter. He killed the grandmother in that. He after the granddaughter in the second one, and the great-great-granddaughter in the third one. So he haunted the family from their own. And I'm telling you, what make this so great for me is this movie scared me literally. No movie, I seen Freddy's, Jason's, everything, Exorcist. No movie ever scared me as much as this. Maybe because I was young, but I remember vividly. I watched this in a daytime with people and was scared. But something told me, scare yourself a little more, because I was a little badass kid, fighting, running around the streets, all kind of shit. So I challenged myself to watch it at night. And I regretted that the day after, because I had a nightmare about this cat for no bullshit for about a month. It was so many different dreams. I don't want to get into that because that's irrelevant. But that's why his staying power is strong with me. Iconic. Y'all stay tuned for part 2. I don't know who it's going to be. I got a couple candidates. I just got to look over things, how I want to do it. But that's the end. Candyman. He's one of the goats out there. That's my guy. I hope Jordan Peele and them do him justice in the new one. But we out. Thank you. Like and subscribe. ZZ the King. And hold on before I go. Milwaukee, Wisconsin is my hometown. Let's go Bucks! We just won a championship. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, PJ Tucker, Brooke Lopez, Drew Holiday. Y'all can't take this from us. This ain't got nothing to do with Candyman, but I had to put it out there because I ain't got no sports channel yet. We the champs, baby. But back to the original. Candyman. Iconic. I'm out. ZZ.